Jamaica. Make we do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out. Don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6:30.
This evening, we turn our attention to an issue that too often remains in the shadows: grief. In recent weeks, the nation has been shaken by the tragic deaths of young people and some seniors too, sparking difficult conversations about loss, suicide, and how we as a community respond. Lead Story brings you the voice of someone who knows this journey intimately and has turned her pain into purpose and healing. Lead Story begins now. Good evening and welcome to Lead Story. I'm Nika Lewis. We've talked much about loss and grief, tragedy and life after suicide. But our guest this evening is Mrs. Eileen Prendergast, and she is a bereaved parent, a grief educator and a yoga instructor who has transformed her personal tragedy into a mission to help others heal. She joins us this evening in studio to share her story of loss, her path toward recovery, and the work she's doing to guide families and communities through the pain of grief and the stigma of suicide. Welcome, Mrs. Prendergast.
Thank you, Nico. I appreciate.
That's a long list of things that you have become and done. But talk to us a little. You're a mentor, a Viloma, grief educator and yoga instructor. Tell us what exactly you do and how you ended up choosing this path.
Well, it chose me. I didn't choose to be a bereaved mom, a grief educator, a grief-informed yoga guide. So, in a short version, in 2020, my son died. I like to use the word. And it was tagged as a suicide, but never fully investigated. So a lot of unanswered questions that, brings a lot of challenges in and of itself. And I remember before Brady died, he said to me, "Mom, you need to do a lot of things with your yoga." Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would walk this path. And so the grief education came when I felt how painful this journey was. And nobody was there. Yes, they're supporting you, your family, your friends, but they don't know the grief. And their life goes on. And I needed to find ways to heal myself. And in doing that is when I came to the realization that I could be that person to walk alongside someone, since I knew the journey intimately, and I also knew that I wanted to heal and live fully and not just exist.
You touched a critical aspect of understanding grief there and experiencing grief. Losing someone, especially a child, could never be anything a parent wants or imagine.
It's an out of order death, and that's where the word Viloma comes from. In most cases, we never had a word for a bereaved parent because it's not something you even consider a natural process.
Yes.
And so the Viloma is the Sanskrit word that describes that parent. And there is no way to put it into words what that feels like. It changes you forever, and you get to choose how you move through that process. We don't get to choose the grief or how it happened or have some of the answers as to why, but we do get to choose whether we suffer or that we heal.
Do you think people oftentimes choose to suffer than to heal? Is it easier?
It is much easier. It is such a dark, lonely place that unless you've walked that path, you don't understand it. And so you isolate and you withdraw. And we are creatures of connection. And so when we lose that connection, it's easy to just stay where you are in the pain and the suffering.
We're up on a break. We are up on a break indeed, and we'll be right back to discuss this matter. Stay with us.
Millions of people are attacked by harmful mouth bacteria. The root cause of bad breath, gum problems, cavities, plaque, and tartar. That's why Colgate combined the best science and technology in Colgate Total. Unlike others, its superior formula fights bacteria and creates a powerful protective barrier for up to 24 hours to prevent them from coming back. Take control of your oral health with Colgate Total.
There are certain moments in life you'll cherish forever, like finding love, realizing your life is going to change forever, creating your dream home. These are your great moments, and helping you to achieve them is ours. Chris and Charles, powering great moments since 1992. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Welcome back. You're watching Lead Story, and it's a conversation about resilience, compassion, and the urgent need for greater grief literacy in Jamaica. My guest this evening is grief educator and yoga instructor, Mrs. Eileen Mackay Prendergast, and we were talking about her personal experience. But we also want to dig a little deeper, Mrs. Prendergast, into you naming aspects of, one, the loss. You named your child. You mentioned Brady. You mentioned the fact that it was alleged to be suicide. And those are things that so many people are finding hard to put into words.
So I think grief, as much as we know we will all walk that path in some shape or form, for some reason we are afraid to talk about it, whatever the circumstances are. Even when we talk about, so when I say Brady died, that's almost like, oh my gosh, why don't you just say you lost him, or why he passed away? Because I didn't lose him. And it's funny how the mind works, is, it works on repeat. And if you keep telling yourself, I lost, your mind is gonna say, well, you can find him. And so I had to come to terms with, no, I am never going to see, feel, or touch him again. And the only way I could put that into words that made sense to me was that he died. Suicide, there's a stigma attached to it, and I think that's from a place of ignorance. So, people still walk around saying, my son committed suicide, or my daughter committed suicide. It's not a sin. It's not anywhere comparable to committing murder. It's an illness of the mind. Just as cancer is illness of the body. We have illnesses of the mind. And in fact, suicide is really their medicine for that illness.
Is there a way to heal properly? And how does your work help with that healing?
So,
I notice you have a demonstration lined up as well.
So grief is as unique as our fingerprint. So there is no right or wrong way to heal or to grieve, as long as you're not hurting yourself or someone else. So don't let anyone ever tell you, oh, you need to be doing this or you need to be doing that. What I found is I've tried everything except substances, from equine therapy, art therapy, music therapy, dog therapy, walk therapy, talk therapy. I've done it all. And all of them play a little part in my healing process.
And we do have some of what you do online that we've been going through the pages and looking through what you've been doing, not just at home, but abroad especially. We've had some of that captured, so the producer will be bringing that up on screen, and we'll just have a little browse of what you offer. And there we go, the DIY experience and all of these things. So the viewers can see a bit of what you do. This is what your website looks like.
Yes. So grief and pain, well, the pain of grief needs to move. And if we don't move that pain through,
Yes.
then the body keeps a score. And I can attest to that wholeheartedly, from the shoulders to the heart to the back. I mean, it physically holds the pain. And yoga is just the somatic part of yoga is a very gentle way of breathing and moving the pain through and acknowledging what is happening and becoming very aware of it, so that at some point, my hope is that they will surrender to what is, even though they don't like it, and be able to live more fully and keep the child or their family member or friends' memory alive. You know, I truly believe that Brady's not with me in the way that I would like, but he's still with me, just in a different way.
Was he your only child?
No, he is not my only child. I have a younger son, and I also had a stillbirth many years ago. So I do believe, and I do say, I've had 3 children,
Yes.
and I still carry the 3 of them very close to my heart. So yeah.
You do so as well as a giant in this world, walking others along. So talk us through someone like myself or anybody else out there who's watching who may have encountered immense loss and is grieving. They come to you how? How do they get in touch with you? How do they start the healing with you?
It depends on what stage they are in their grief process. So they can always reach out to me online, but I also do services through my church. I also am a leader at Compassionate Friends, which is a grief support group for bereaved parents.
Yes.
And sometimes it's just somebody recommending me to someone else. And a lot of it is done just as community service, because it's a difficult thing for me to charge. I mean, my heart just breaks.
Yes.
For parents. My specialty is really parents.
Okay.
So I really focus on parents who are walking through that journey, and I don't guide them really. I'm just there to hold their hand and listen and support them without judgment. So I like to say I hold space for them,
Yes.
and I hold hope
Indeed.
until they're ready.
Well, we are ready to take a break, but we'll be right back to continue this very critical conversation about handling grief and surviving loss. We'll be right back.
We want a piece for Jamaica. Yo, what are you? Oh man, none of that. No, brother, no, man.
You see you ever play ref? No game,
yeah,
no
but
play.
I look a bad game. No, I said, place when you come from, brother, I want to live good, man. I want to live good, brethren. No shake hand, I can play a little bad, brethren.
Really have to shake hand?
Yeah, man, and no badness, brethren. Just live good, man.
I make the violence done.
The rebranded Heart NSTA Trust offers more than just skills training. Come to us for prior learning assessment to get certified without the need to attend classes. Let us provide the guidance and mentorship you need to start your own company through our entrepreneurship and business development services. Access our literacy and numeracy training through the High School Diploma Equivalency Program. We are Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
Every day starts with care. Care that's always close. Supermed Family of Pharmacies is where you go for everything you need. From your morning routine to life's biggest moments. Supermed Family of Pharmacies is always by your side. Whether it's prescriptions or household essentials, trust the care that's close to home. Super happy, super healthy, Supermed.
Thanks so much. You are watching Lead Story. We're talking about grief and surviving immense loss. In terms of suicide, we've heard a lot about that in recent weeks, and we have someone who's not only lived that experience, having lost, but also living beyond it, healing beyond it, and helping others at home and abroad to heal as well. Welcome back. We are with Mrs. Prendergast, Eileen Mackay-Prendergast. And Mrs. Prendergast, you have here on our desk a little demonstration of sorts. And this is around how people...
So I think there's a misconception that grief and the pain that comes with grief is something that happens and then we move on from it and then it gets put to the side and we're now better and healed. Yes. And grief is really, in my mind, love cloaked with pain. And so as long as you grieve and as long as you love, they will remain side by side. And so my goal is to guide people where they can integrate the pain with the love so that they will grieve with more love and less pain, because the grief is here to stay for as long as you're going to love that person. And so this demonstration really just shows that in the very early acute stages, this glass jar is really representative of yourself in grief and pain. The tissue is the pain, and in the early stages, you sometimes can't even breathe. There were so many times that I actually had to jolt myself and say, oh my gosh, I'm not breathing. And then over time, if you tend to your grief, that's the important thing. Grief needs attention, and you nurture it and take care of it. It's not an enemy, it's actually the love that you have for that person.
But how do you tend to it?
Give it time. And feel the feelings. Allow your pain to be witnessed. That's where funerals came from. Okay. They needed that pain to be witnessed by others. And each person will find their different ways and modalities that will allow them to release that pain. And so over time, if you tend to it carefully, you start to grow around the pain. So new memories, new beginnings, and you're still carrying that love, but you grow around it. And so the pain is not hitting you constantly. And over time, it doesn't feel the same. It's there.
Yes.
And you might get activated in some way, and you hold your breath, or you might cry. There are many times that out of nowhere, tears come, and I'm like, okay. You just sit with it for a bit. And then over time, you grow more and more and more. And so the pain is not so intense. So I like to say the pain softens, but it doesn't go away. And so I really encourage people to, not in the early and acute stages, because you can't see straight during those times, and you can't even see that there's hope beyond those moments.
And we noticed that you have a similar visual representation.
It's pretty much the same, really showing on the top what most people tend to think is that the grief shrinks over time.
Oh.
Whereas the bottom one is really demonstrative of this, where the grief and pain stays the same, but we are growing as time passes, and we're growing around it, and we find new meaning to life. And I would not be here if I didn't find new meaning to life. And so as much as I would love and snap of a finger bring Brady back, I know that's not possible. And so this is my way of integrating that pain and love to help others heal.
I love that you have found this strength and all that you have done, the work to get to this point. It's commendable. It's admirable.
Well, grief requires work because you really do have a choice of staying in the dark or opening up and allowing the light to shine through the cracks. You know, there's a Japanese art called kintsugi, where they use the cracked pieces of art to make beautiful jars with gold. And I think of my heart the same way. So those cracks are just filled with light.
Indeed. Why is grief education important for individuals and for a nation like Jamaica?
I think the more we're educated, the less fearful we are of something that brings so much pain. And if we could understand, even with suicide, you know, if we could understand that this is not something that that person chose willingly. You know, they have an illness of the mind, even if it's for that snap second.
Okay.
And so, you know, you hear people say that, oh, it was cowardly or selfish. No, they did not want to die. If you listen to the videos of people who have survived trying, they just need to get that pain away, and this is the only way they see out. And so it really is about educating and understanding that they're not always signs and telltales. If they don't want you to know, you will never know. And so it's very tricky, you know, but as you may know, it's on an upward trajectory. Every 43 seconds, let me repeat, every 43 seconds, somebody takes their life. So what is causing that upward tick? They don't have full answers, but social media is one of the things they talk about. There is no anchor, so whether it's a spiritual grounding to anchor you, there's no hope, there's a lot of hopelessness. And so if you are in that dynamic, you just can't see another way. So it's not selfish or cowardly, it's actually a very brave act if you really think about it. And just I want to say, in the movies, that's not how it is in real life. You know, it's not all planned out and they write a note. It really is, and I don't know this from my own experiences, but from working and walking alongside a lot of parents who have dealt with suicide knowingly. They have so much guilt because they don't understand all that goes on the inside.
If you had an opportunity to share advice, tips, coping strategies beyond what you've just shared in this program? Up to this point, there may be an individual watching. What would you say to that individual parent or parents who may have suffered in this way?
Make sure you allow your pain to be witnessed. Make sure you have a strong support system, which not always is what you think it will look like. So it's not always the friends and the family or the husband or the children. You have to step out beyond that. And I have found some of my greatest support from people I never knew before.
Wow.
Right? And so you have to be open. And I know for those who are in the acute and early stages, this is going to land really heavy because you're like, I can't. But I promise you, if you just keep putting one baby step in front of the other, you will. And one day you will thrive.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Mrs. Mackay Prendergast.